Science. It's fantastic. From the bread maker, to the toaster, to the electronic bread knife, science has provided us with marvel after miracle, making it the most successful human invention since the discovery of bread in 4004 BC. But is science as wonderful as it's made out to be? In this special report, we'll be looking at the growing concern about science's applicability to the weird and the wonderful. Hi, my name's Matthew Dentith, a member of the Department of Philosophy and PhD candidate. In the next 12 minutes, science is going to be on trial. You've probably experienced science every day. From the early morning roasting of your coffee beans to the toast you eat for breakfast, science is everywhere. It powers your alarm clocks, fuels your cars, and informs your supervisors. Every minute of your day, science is there to help you. It's like an old friend, a beloved family member, or a prize-winning terrier. If science were to go away for the weekend, you'd be at a loss, not knowing what to do or how to cope with the world around you. But science can be a bully. It doesn't like you to fraternize with certain other beliefs or systematic accounts of knowledge. Whether it be a post-structuralist or the local cleric, science wants your attention 100% of the time. Science is like your neighbor, and like all neighborhoods, it's wise to know who else lives around you. Right next door to our dominating friend Science might be found Mr. Paranormal, a genial chap who owns crystals and likes to play cards. He's a friendly chap, not at all exclusionary, and simply begging to be let into your life. To tell us more on the subject, let's go over to our special correspondent, Dr. Jonathan McKeown Green, for an extraordinary report on the paranormal.
Thank you, Matthew. The paranormal, a world of the bizarre and the miraculous, with subjects ranging from ghosts to ESP to homeopathy. It's an account of the world that celebrates the unusual. At every turn, the paranormal confronts science and says, "Hey, look at me! I'm different, I'm weird, love me long time." Whereas science is the sensible sister, the paranormal is your abnormal second cousin no one in the family ever wants to talk about. Science strives towards consistency and internal coherence bordering on the logical, whilst the paranormal strikes out in all directions when it comes to providing an account of itself. From claims about the impressing of personality matrices on the erethic spectrum to water scoring high IQ tests, the paranormal diverges where science converges, speculates where science simplifies, and sells itself in glossy magazines where science is content with old-fashioned black-and-white print. But is the paranormal all that different from old-fashioned science? Recent debates in the field have focused upon science's almost dogmatic assertion that all knowledge relates back to the natural sciences. But is it possible that science isn't the systematic account of everything? The paranormal, a contender for the throne on which science sits, or a companion in crime? Back to you, Matthew.
Thank you, John. Science as a method of obtaining knowledge advocates a systematic account of knowledge that praises the virtue of simplicity. It is the idea that a good account of the way the world works is one uncomplicated by theoretical clutter. This simplicity is best expressed by the catchphrase of the physicist: small is beautiful. The smaller the explanation, the better. It was Sir Isaac Newton, I think, who first invented gravity. We can imagine Isaac sitting at his desk, quill in hand, first writing down an account of what he thought gravity was. Perhaps inspired by the travails of the local beagle, or a conversation he had with his butcher, Isaac probably wrote down several versions of his new invention to see which one would strike gold. Some of these accounts might well have been very complex, postulating all sorts of wacky entities and physical follies. But Sir Isaac knew what the public wanted. He went for the simple theory, chucking out all those extra, but unneeded entities. People like simple theories about the world, and science, God bless his cotton socks, provides us with them. But simple theories about the world might well make good PR, but they don't necessarily tell us how the world actually is. Simplicity is an aesthetic choice. Such theories about the world are easy to understand and provide no difficulties when used. But such aesthetic choices should not be mistaken for what really goes on behind the scenes. The world might be simple, or the world might be complex, who knows? For the purpose of our friend science, simplicity is the buzzword because it promotes understanding. But don't mistake good marketing for the real deal. John.
The paranormal might well be one of these cases where the simple solution that science likes to advocate turns out to be inappropriate for the occasion. With reference to immaterial ghosts and mesmer rays that imbue water with supernatural properties, it may turn out that those paranormal worldviews might well be cluttered with extra entities and complex theories. In cases like these, the method that science employs would rather we reject such complexity and go for the simple. We shouldn't be judgmental about the paranormal because of this, however. If simplicity is an aesthetic choice, then it may not be appropriate to hold to it at all times. Make way, science. The paranormal might be coming through. Back to you, Matthew.
Imagine a world where mathematics had gone mad. 1 plus 1 equaling pi, and pi being the square root of imaginary numbers. Crazy, huh? Luckily, such a world could never actually exist. The fundamental truths of math are inviolate. Once we know them, they are not subject to change. Science, however, might well just be a series of descriptions of best fit. Such a view holds that it is possible that our natural laws, those theoretical statements of scientific fact, could be different. From varying accounts of the structure of the atom to claims about the nature of the cosmic void, sometimes our views can be malleable. It is an historic truth that we have experienced changes in the theoretical underpinnings of science. The history of scientific progress is littered with once popular, chart-topping scientific hits that are now treated like the hits of the 80s, fit for only dancing to in darkened rooms. Science, then, might well be a set of theories about what might be reasonably expected to believe in, rather than statements about what actually underpins the world we live in. Indeed, it is plausible to think that there might be some things in our world lurking behind the scenes, that we might have no way of ever knowing, either due to never being in a position to experience them, or that our scientific accounts of knowledge do not predict. We could say, then, that our scientific description of life, the universe, and, well, everything, might be incomplete. John.
Experiences of the paranormal might well be an example of this kind of whacked-out world that Matthew has been talking about. And now it is possible that all these paranormal occurrences that people experience are simply the misapplication of otherwise well-understood scientific principles in action in the world around us, and that, if experienced by the trained practitioner of the scientific method, might turn out not to be all that whacked out after all. Still, it seems plausible that there might well be some forces in the world that science hasn't yet told us about, and these forces may just end up explaining those wacky ghosts and mind-tripping telepaths that the paranormal has so ably described.